everyone, and welcome back to Dev Show. My name is Sherry Liz, and I'm your host today again with my good colleague Rasmus. Hi, Rasmus. Welcome back. Dev
Hi,
Show.
Sherry. Thanks. I'm very, very happy to be back. How are you doing, Sherry?
I'm fine and enjoying the sun, but apparently you don't like sun that much. You're putting too much of clothing on.
I'm putting my jacket on, sitting in my basement, and it's 17 degrees down here, so it's nice and cold.
Great. Today we have a very packed session with a lot of demo. So we're going to be very quick. But just before we start everything, I want to mention that we really want you to chat with each other and interact and ask your question from us. But yes, thanks to Rasmus, we really want you to familiarize yourself as well with our code of conduct, which is highlighted. You can find it in the link that is highlighted here. But in short, we really want you to just be mindful and respectful of each other. The other fact is that we had a Cloud Skills Challenge, and we promise you all that there will be winners and some prizes. Wasn't it, Rasmus?
Yeah. I didn't manage to win anything like usual, so no swag for me. So, but I know that you found a lot of winners that actually completed it.
Yes, we had 10 people completed the session. If I remember, is it 10 or 11? Yes, 10. For all of you that you completed this Cloud SQL session, not session, challenge. First of all, congratulations and thank you for going through this to be ready for to be part of this session. So we want you all to send an email to either Rasmus or myself. This is our actually our email that I highlighted here, and we will manage to actually to send these packages to you as we promised. So thank you, and we are going to have more of these Cloud Skills challenges with swags in future. So what do we have on the agenda, Rasmus, for today, apart from
Yeah,
swag?
yeah. Apart from swag, we love swag, but we also love the agenda today. So this is a part two series of a series, right? So not last week, but the week before, we had part one about getting started with Java on Azure. So we just spoke with today's speaker, which is Rory. If you also participated in the first one, then you also know him. And he's going to be demoing a lot today. So it's going to be an awesome session again.
So welcome on the stage, Rory.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello, Sherry. Hello, Rasmus. Glad to be back here. So excited.
Yes,
Amazing to have you here.
and because of you, I found finally my plushie. So I
Duke,
have
yeah,
my
that's Duke. Yeah,
Yes,
his name is
I have
Duke, eh?
Duke. Yeah, that's
Do
true.
you know there's a story behind him? So when they created Java and Duke, he was supposed to be their mascot. So it was a set top on top of like a TV set that controls the cable TV. And he would tell the audience exactly what they're doing on their cable TV channel and give them the channel number. And they created that mascot as a kind of nice emblem to say, you're on channel 5, you're on channel 6. So you're doing that there. You're the mascot actually right now, and he's actually the channel.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I didn't know.
That's a good story. So you do not only know a lot about mascots and cable TV, but you also a senior cloud advocate in Microsoft, and you have 20+ year experience with Java. Just for everyone that didn't join last time. And where are you based?
I'm based in Johannesburg. It's sunny, but it's 17 degrees. And I understand in Europe it is sweltering hot, though. But I'm really enjoying here. I'm in a parka. I've got my aircon on here, and it's really nice and cool here.
Great.
That's great. So, shall we, since the agenda is packed, shall we just kickstart everything? So I just share your screen and we go on.
That's great. I've got so much to show today.
Let's jump in and take it away, Rory.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the demo god will be here with us. So
okay, so just caveat right now, I have a lot to show today. So if something doesn't go right, I have 6 demos to show. So I'm going to move past the demos that don't show, and I've got about 43 minutes to show you everything. And what we're going to show you today is, first of all, I'm going to show you what and carry on from the session that we had before, and I'm going to show you how to take a Spring application and pop it onto Azure Spring Cloud. I'm also going to show you briefly how to use Terraform to get your application there and connect with the database. And then I'm going to show you how to take a JBoss and a microprofile application from start, and also an existing application connected to a database. Then I'm going to show you how to take a what I mentioned before, Terraform to Azure App Service. Then take the same application, pop it onto an Azure function. So we're going to look at Azure Functions with Java, and then I'm going to show you Azure Spring Cloud. And now each one of these demos, I'm going to show you how to get started, and then also a real-world example, how to connect to a database, and how to have in some places, a real hefty application. Now, all of these you can access, and these demos are from aka.ms/java-learn-path. So you've seen a lot of them on the Cloud Skills Challenge, but you can go to aka.ms/java-learn-path. We'll put the links in there in the chat also, though. So the first thing I want to go back to is where we left off last 2 weeks ago, and that is the Azure Spring application that we did, that very simple application here, and that is, if you remember here, that is the Pet Clinic application. And we showed you here with the Pet Clinic application, and we deployed it on a P3 v3 application on Azure Spring Cloud, and we did the Maven deploy. So if you remember here, we went Maven config, so and then we went Maven deploy. And what we got, it went and created our application. If we go into our application here, you can see there's the application there, and we went into that application, and then we browsed that application. Let's pop that here. And Chrome and me are never good. Okay, so here's the application, and you can see here, this is the Spring Pet Clinic application. It's using a built-in H2 database. We got the found owners here, and it's pretty simple, but we want to put that into a proper database. So the first demo I want to show you is how to do that. And you want to go into the rapidly dev and deploy learn module. So you can access that on the Java on Azure Learn path. And in this Learn module, it shows you how to use either Terraform with GitHub Actions or with Azure Pipelines. And we go through all of that with that exact application that you just saw in there on how to create it with Terraform. So let's briefly go through that. And I want to show you what you need to do to create that run. So this is a run that I did, a GitHub Actions run. And if you go into GitHub Actions here, you see that I ran this yesterday, and it's two form. One is the Terraform action. So Terraform here will do an init, deploy, and apply, and it will go create your resources for you. You can see the init, plan, and apply. And Terraform uses a nice little script here. If we go into the Terraform folder of my folder, and it's got a nice little main.terraform file, and it creates your MySQL database. Then it links your MySQL database with that Spring Pet Clinic application by creating a Spring profile. And then you've got your app service. You can see there app service specific environment variables with your JDBC URL. And it goes and creates and provisions your resources for you. Then once you have that, you need to deploy your resources. And that's a separate action. So we've got the Terraform action provision, and then build and deploy the application here. And if you go into here, then that goes in and builds it and takes the artifact. You can see there, uploads the artifact to a deployment job. And then the deploy actually goes in and deploys to Azure App Service. And if you go all the way down here, you'll see here that this actually gives you a new URL. And let's go check here. So if we click on here, now we get the Spring Pet Clinic, but now this is connected to a MySQL database. So we can go find owners, and we can go find owners. Now, if we go into the portal, so let's go into the, where were we? So let's go into portal. Now, what we're expecting here is that our app service information, so whereas before we did H2 database, a built-in in-memory database, now we should see the app service for that application for our Spring Pet Clinic. And it is over there. Let me just confirm that. Doubly confirm that there. Let's go back into that. Just make sure that it's the right URL. Yeah, RPZA. And now we should actually go into our app. Let's go into our app insights. Remember, it's built in out of the box application insights. So you get that distributed tracing and logging. And now when Terraform deploys this, we want to see that it's connecting to a MySQL database. Remember, it's using a Java profile. And then it just connects to that Java profile with that JDBC. So we can go into application map. Let's make that a little bit bigger. And hopefully last hour, there we go. 7 calls to a MySQL database. We can click on that. That's our calls that we just did there. Viewing the logs, owners find. That's exactly what we want to see. So we want to go to owners here. And now you can see the owners find and those database settings here and the samples for that for the distributed transaction. You can see their owners find, and you can see there that it is actually going into the database. Let's do that one more time next. I want to show you the actual application map directly to the database for those SQL commands. And let's go into the actual SQL database, the MySQL database there. So there's the Pet Clinic there. And let's go, and instead of last hour, let's go last 30 days, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get that telemetry out. Let's click on there. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more settings here, and we can go select distinct owners here, and we get those samples, and we can see here how long it took. Remember, this is important. You get all of the owners here, and let's see the performance that we've got here. It took 6 milliseconds to find that owner, and you can go in. Let's go back there. You can go into, wow, this is what happens when you use a magic mouse. You can go into there. Let's go last 30 days, apply. And this is quite, you can see how incredibly quick it is to get all of that performance information. Let's go select pet type. And then you can go into all of that telemetry information to get your transactions and how long each transaction took. So let's use that here. And you can get all of that if, oh, I know why, because I made that too small. There we go. You can get all of that telemetry information and go in and tweak your database and even see the user flows to what the user did at what point and what time. And this is all now connecting to the MySQL database. So that's the first thing I want to show. So you can go in and create and play around with that and get those GitHub actions and Azure DevOps actions on the rapidly dev and deploy as part of the Java Learn path. And it's a great thing to do there. Next is, let's do a live demo to take the same application and pop it on to Azure Spring Cloud. I know, this is very daunting. It's a lot of demos, but first I want to show you how to get started with Azure Spring Cloud. So I'm going to go take my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to close everything here, and I'm going to start again. So I'm going to close all of that, and now I've got a new folder. There's nothing in here. And you can see here, you can clone, or I can go create a Java project. So I'm going to create a Java project. And now you can see here, I get a choice between no build tools, Maven, Spring Boot, Quarkus, MicroProfile. This time around, we're going to choose Spring Boot. And I'm going to choose a Maven project. And I'm going to choose 2.3.12, a Java project. I'm going to choose com.example demo as my Maven artifacts. I'm going to create a jar file because it is a Spring Boot application. I'm going to use Java 8. And now I'm get Spring Initializer, choose your dependencies. So you can choose all of these dependencies. There's so many here, but I've already kind of set it up that the last used one. So I'm going to use Spring Web, Eureka, because this is Spring Cloud that we're going to, Spring Boot Actuator, Sleuth, and Zipkin, which are the tracing, and then Config Client. So I'm going to click on that. Now it's going to say, please go create an application for me. I'm going to create this application here under dev show, and I'm going to call that temp, dev show temp, create that there. And now I'm going to, it's going to generate into this project, and now I can open this project. Now what this is going to do for me is going to create a very basic project here. You can see the Maven, and it's got a demo application. It really doesn't do a lot here, but it's got all of my dependencies that I need to create a Spring Boot application. I want to create a Hello controller there that actually gives me the ability to see exactly what I did. Now, if you want to see all of the dependencies, you can click through on start.spring.io. And let's go to start.spring.io. And you can actually see, let's go here. Let's minimize that here. I have so many Chrome windows. There we go. And you can actually see the actual dependencies here. So this is me clicking through there, and I've got all my dependencies here. And this is the jar and the project that I've got right now. So I've got this project here. Now I want to go create a controller to get a REST service. So I want to go in onto my demo project. I'm going to go new folder here, and I want to call that there Hello Controller. And real developers, live code, and live demo. Hello Controller. But nothing really in here. And then I'm going to just paste some sample code here that I've got. And real developers, paste, copy and paste. And you see here, it's just got on all the request mappings here, then it's going to say greeting from Azure Spring Cloud. And I've got my com.example, and that's all you need actually for Azure Spring Cloud. So let's go here and build this with Maven. So if we can go to Maven, and you can see all the life cycles here. So you can go install and package. I just need the jar file there. So I'm going to go and package that in. It is going to run my tests. If you want to not run your tests, you must do -D skip tests, because there's a lot of tests that you get with Azure Spring Cloud. You can see there that some of them are actually going to fail because it doesn't actually run locally on my PC as a Spring Cloud instance though. But it is going to eventually come back, and I'm going to have a jar file. Now I'm going to take that jar file and I'm going to deploy that to my Spring Cloud instance. Now I have gone ahead and created my Spring Cloud instance and also a demo app called Hello World. So we've got that already here. So I've got my Spring Cloud here, my little app service window in Visual Studio Code. I've got my Spring Cloud instance here. You can go create it. And I've got some of the other instances here that we're going to go through. But I've got a Hello Spring app here. Now, if you go into Hello Spring here, you see that I've already deployed it. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to deploy it again. So I'm going to click on that there and onto that. And I'm going to go deploy. And it's going to say, what do you want to deploy? Now, you can run this via command line and deploy it via source file. And it's going to use dev packs to actually go in and create your own container as a service. But I'm going to specify that I want, let me just make sure, that we're in the right folder. I want that snapshot there. And now it's going to go in and deploy my applications. And it's going to say greetings from Azure Spring Cloud. Now, I know what you're saying, but how do I know, Rory, if you deployed this beforehand or before and you're not just fudging it, though? So I can actually go in and then show you. So what I've done is I've deployed two applications. One is using a deployment slot of the previous application, and another is the current application that I'm deployed. Because Azure Spring Cloud is a Kubernetes instance, so it actually has nodes. And just like you do scheduling of node rollouts, you can do that with Azure Spring Cloud. So let's go back into here, and let's go back into my Chrome window, and there we go. And here's my Chrome window. Now I'm going to go into Azure Spring Cloud, into my Spring Cloud instance. And I'm going to show you the deployment slot that we did it. Now I've changed that deployment slot to say greetings from dev show. And you'll see there that as we go into that app, it's going to slowly come through that it's been deployed. You can see there that the deployment slots that I've got here, that's not running just yet. But you can see there that I can go in and I can swap it out, set as production. So I can do that. So I can go set as production, and I can go into the green. So it's blue-green deployment. I can go into the blue-green deployment, and I can click on the URL there, and it should say there, hello from DevShow. So this is the green deployment that I've previously done. Let's wait until the blue deployment is done, and let's go see if it says greetings from Azure Spring Cloud. So let's just wait there. And there we go. So now if I go into the production deployment, I can click on there, and it says, let's wait, drum roll, please, greeting from Azure Spring Cloud. And that's how easy it is to use Azure Spring Cloud. So I showed you how to get started and create it using the Spring Starters. I showed you how to add a controller and then deploy it through the deployment cycle. Now let's do something a little bit more meaty. Let's take our Azure Spring application that we did with the pet clinic, and now let's go in and show you how to disseminate that into microservices, and now deploy all of that and use distributed tracing. So we're going to close that folder here, and we're going to go into a project. And this project, you can get it, and I'm going to show it to you now. You can go into this. Let's open up Chrome here. So this folder here has all your microservices, and you can access that on Azure Samples /spring-pet-clinic-microservices. And it's got everything that you need here, including all of the instructions to create a really in-depth microservice-based application. Now, let's go through this here, and let's do the run through. So first of all, you'll notice that I don't have one Java project here. I have about 7. So I've got the admin server, API gateway, config server, and those are all used there for Azure Spring Cloud administration. Then I've got the customer services, vet service, and visit service for your business logic. And then I've got the discovery server there to show and discover your services here. So in the customer service here, you'll see there, it's pretty simple. Source, main, Java, and I've got the model and also the web, exactly like we saw 2 weeks ago, except I've got its individual services here. So what I want to show you here is that I'm going to now show you the deployment of this. So let's go into Azure App Services here. Now in my Azure Spring Cloud here, I've got all of the services here that I've created beforehand, and each one of them I can treat as a microservice. So on my customer service here, I can go into there, and I can go see the app instances, the scale settings. So I can go into the scale settings. You can see there that I've got the scale settings set up at just instant counts 1, but I can scale out right there. And if I wanted to, I can go edit scale settings and how many instances you want. So I'm not going to do that right now because I want to show you the demo, but I can actually go into my API gateway, go access the public endpoint, and let's go into here, and let's go into Chrome again. And I've got my Spring Cloud application. Gets a little bit confusing because I've got 3 Spring Cloud applications. Now I've got my Spring Cloud application. Now this is connected to a MySQL database also, but this is using microservices. Now if I go into George Franklin and I see everything that he's the owner of pets and everything, now I can actually see how fast the microservices go. So now I'm going to go back into my Azure Spring Cloud portal. Now I can see a distributed tracing and logging through microservices, through all of those services here. Remember, we saw 7 services that I've deployed individually. So now I can go to Azure Spring Cloud. I can go to Spring Cloud there. Now on my apps that I have here, I can go to each individual of those apps, and I can see, wait a second, customer service is great. I can go and running instances, persistent storage. I've got the deployment slots, but I can also go into my application insights. And the application insights here, I can go to the application map, and now look at this. Look at this little street map here that we get. And isn't this beautiful? Because this now shows me everything. I've got customer service here, 140 calls in the last hour, visit service. It's calling API gateway, and I can click on customer service here, and I want to see those customers, and I can go investigate the performance. And let's go a little bit longer here. So let's go last 24 hours. So I did put a lot of data in it recently. Let's go there. Yeah, let's go there. That's the owner service. I can go investigate performance here. I can drill down into where I saw load. So I can go into, that's where I actually loaded it with a couple of services. You can see there 3,000 calls that I did earlier this morning. I can click on owner service here. I can go into those samples. And now I can see exactly the same as the clouds, the owner service that I get here. And also it's a microservice. So instead of it returning all the way to the HTTP GET, to the service to the client. Now it's going to return back to the Eureka server with all of that data. And that's a microservice, a proper microservice. So you get all of that power for that application map, along with so many other services here. You can see here, where's my pet SQL? Here's my SQL database. And I get all of that distributed tracing and logging as part of my Azure Spring Cloud. So it's pretty simple to get started. I've shown you how to get started. And now to scale, let's go scale it up here. I'm going to scale it to 2 instances. I'm going to give it 4 gigs of memory and 4 CPUs. I can scale up to 500 instances there, and it's going to scale. We can come back to that later, though, and then I can scale my a customer service there. You can do auto scaling here, which we're going to do in a few seconds now, because we're going to go into our next demo, which is JBoss. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's go look at creating a microservice with Jakarta EE using MicroProfile. I know there's so much to take in here. So hold on to your horses. I'm going to close that folder. We're going to come back to the scaling a little bit later. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing that I showed you there before, but now I'm going to do it with, let's go into here. I'm going to create a Java project. Now I'm going to use MicroProfile. Now the MicroProfile, you need to install the extension, and the MicroProfile is the Jakarta EE standard for a lot of services. You're going to go into MicroProfile. I'm not going to choose any of the service here because I only want the REST service. I'm going to com.example demo. I'm going to choose MicroProfile 4. And I'm going to use Wildfly because at Azure, we support JBoss and Azure App Service, Java SE8. And now you can choose all of these other MicroProfile services, but I'm not going to choose any of those. I'm just going to go OK. And I'm going to choose a new service here. And I'm going to go new folder here. And I'm going to call that MicroProfile RPZA. And let's go dev show. You can see how many demos I've done. If all the names have been chosen. And then generate into this folder and open in the new window. Now you'll see here that I now have a MicroProfile service. I can go into Java and I've got a hello controller and hello world. So how are we going to deploy this now? So first of all, you can run this locally. So if I go into here in the README, it actually it tells me how to run this locally. So I can go copy. First of all, let's build it. So let's go package that there, and it will run the unit test here. And we're going to run this, and it's going to run a Wildfly instances with MicroProfile locally on our PC. So we can open up our terminal. Once this is finished, it's going to build the Wildfly.jar. Then once this is finished, I'm going to deploy it to a JBoss instance on Azure App Service. Now, what is the JBoss instance on Azure App Service? That's a full Wildfly service that is running on Azure App Service that lets you take all of those features and deploy it there. Now, it differs from Azure Spring Cloud because it's not standalone. It's an actual app service here. You can see that it's starting up there. It's a full-fledged application service there. So that's starting up here, and we've got the package here, and hopefully that will come back to us. So once we've done that, we're gonna let's open up a new terminal here. There we go. And we've got java.jar, and now it's going to run the target. Now you're going to see it's going to run hello world. So let's go into here, and it's going to bind to port, and it's so quick. And every time I watch that, and look at that, it's a Wildfly service there, and it's already started. It's deployed demo.jar. So let's go into Chrome here, and Chrome, and let's go into localhost 8080. And then we've got our MicroProfile, and let's click on the JAX-RS endpoint running MicroProfile, hello world. And that was simple, just MicroProfile. Now let's deploy this to Azure. So to do that, it's as simple as going in and typing in the deploy command. So let's just close that there, Control-C. And it is stopped. So you want to do the Maven com.Microsoft Azure Web App. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Okay, now see, every time I do that a little bit bigger. And then you want to do the Maven plugin, and this is new because Azure App Service for JBoss uses the App Service version 3. And that uses 16 CPUs and 32 gigs of RAM. And it's going to be generally available soon, but not just yet. So if I go into my Azure App Service and right-click and deploy, it's not just yet supported. So So I can go there, and I've already kind of done the deploy here, and I can go deploy and let's go config. Sorry, let's go config, and I want to show you where you can. Remember, this is a brand new project. You need to do config first. We great for time. So on config, I want to use an existing app that I've already created on JBoss app service. And then I'm going to go show you how to select an existing app using the Maven command. And then once I do that, I'm going to go in and deploy it. Okay, so it's first going to find my account that I want to use. So my subscription, which is my Cloud Advocate subscription. Now you might think that Cloud Advocates get everything. I only get $500, and I have to watch it like a hawk. So we're not invincible. And I've got running. So now you can see there I've got to create an application, and I've got my demo application, and then I've got another application. I'm going to show you how to connect to a Postgres database. So I'm going to choose 2, which is the application I want to show you that I can connect to. And that application I've already created on. Let's go into here. As a P3 v3 application using app service. So let's go briefly show you what it looks like before we do the deployment. So let's go into app services here. And are we looking for that application there? And that application, I think it was called that one. Let's go back there for a second. Yeah, that is there. So we want to say thank you so much, Maven, but yes. And now it's going to save it to my config, my POM. Now that application there is using the new app service tiering. So if you go scale up, you'll see there that we're using P3V. So P3V, I think it's V3 that I selected here. Yeah, so this one I get here, it's pretty cheap, $63 a month, but I get 8 gigs of memory. I get a VNet support. I get one deploy, which means that I can use the REST services there. So it's just so quick and deploy. And I can go up to P3 V3, 32 gigs of memory, 8 CPUs at really cheap pricing at $235. And it's just so incredible. And you get so many nice services there also. So we're going to scale out to there. Let me find my window. So now when I go deploy, it's already written in my POM file. And I want to see, this should say hello world. Remember what we deployed there. So I'm going to deploy it there. Now, when I go into there, you'll see there that on the app service, I get something different. Now, you might not be used to seeing this kind of level of deployment here, because this is called one deploy. And this is very new. And I hope I'm not the only person who's ever demoed on this, but this is really, really new. So if I go into my deployment center here, you'll see there that under that demo service here, let's open it up here. We'll watch the deploy and it'll come through here. But under the deploy here, you'll see there that it says under deployments. Let's go there. And you can connect it to a database deployment slots. You get the logs. It says one deploy. Now, one deploy is so brilliant because let me show you a previous deployment slot here. One deploy doesn't use FTP. It actually uses the REST services, and it goes. I can't even tell you how fast it is. You want to demo this here. So it's busy deploying here. Let's go view deployment logs here. And yeah, so it's deployed. It's already deployed. Now we can go in and see if our application has started. Now to do that, we want to see the logs. So we can go into the logs and we can go into, well, okay, I don't seem to have enabled file logging. Let's go enable file logging here. File logging is already enabled. And we want to go into our application logs here, and we want to see the application logs. So there's our application logs there, and we can go into those application logs. We can also go into the demo here, and we can go start streaming logs. And let's see we want to see the Wildfly server start. Remember, we've done that with one deploy, and one deploy is so incredibly fast. Admin console's not enabled there, and it says there that started already. And yeah, that's pretty. Activating subsystem. It's going through all of that deployment there, and it's picking up. So now something that took like 10 minutes before literally is taking 3 minutes with JBoss and Azure App Service here. And the next thing I'm going to show you is how to do auto scaling, a demo that is going to blow your mind. So there it says there, listening on services here. So hopefully we can get that it's deployed there. So now I can go and right click in there, and I can go, if everything's working fine, I can go browse website. And let's go here. And we want to go into our little apps there. There we go. And we've got our site here. I've got my demo site here, and I've got my REST endpoints. Wow. Now that is production grade quality application services here. And that's great and everything like that. But what about scaling? Now watch this. I'm going to show you how to take that application and go one step further, because as part of the Java Learn path, we have a Learn path there for, let's go here, on how to do exactly what I did here with, let's go here, deploy a Jakarta EE application to Azure with and scale it out with MySQL database with that microprofile application. So I've got the application here. And now I'm going to show you how to actually do all of that. So let's first open the application. Let's go into here and let's go cd there, cd, and I want to go code. Open that in Visual Studio Code, the best editor around. Okay, so this is the application. Now, what this application does, it creates a world service endpoints. It loads a lot of entities for countries in there and just gives you the country detail, which is great. So it gives you the country detail and then just returns it via REST service. So it's got, and this is microprofile, and it's got a persistence.xml in there that is going to connect to a Postgres flexible server. And we're going to auto scale this. So let me go show you quickly how to auto scale this live with the demo, and let's hope that everything works. So let me open up my portal here. I'm going to hit it with 1,000 transactions, and now I've got 2 instances here. So that area service there is going to scale up to 2 instances and then scale down while we're going through our application. So I'm going to open up Azure Cloud Shell. And I've got a little script here that is going to hit it with a couple of 1,000 transactions, and it's very quick. It's in the same kind of data center here. And I've just got a curl command with a for loop, a bash loop here, and it is going to go in and hit that microservice. And what is it actually going to hit? So let's go into here, and this is the actual, let's go into their microservice that we're going to hit here. So if I paste this into the window here, this is the service that we're going to hit a couple of 1,000 times. And it returns back the information for Africa countries. You can see the area Africa. So let's hit it a couple of 1,000 times. And I'm going to go sh script.sh. Now, before I do that, don't you want to see what I'm actually doing for my auto scaling? Now, on the instances here, I've set up auto scaling on my scale out instances here to, if I get more than 5 sessions to scale. So scale based on a metric for my Jakarta EE application. And if requests are greater than 5, increase count to 2. I can go all the way up to 100. And then scale in, pay as you go, if requests are less than 5. So we're going to leave that there. And now I'm going to go sh script.sh, 1,000 transactions just done. And while that's running, we're going to come back to that. And we're going to see, did that scale? Live demo. In an hour, we're going to hit refresh and see. You can see there 1 instance is there, and we're going to see, did that scale? So let's go back to our demo and see exactly what we did there. Now, how do you scale an entire service that runs and connects to a Postgres database and a Postgres flexible database? So it costs you pennies per month. So what you do is that we've created the ability to take a Wildflower server and make it into a standalone self-contained service. And what we do there is that we create a script that every time a new instance scales up or scales down and you recycle those instances, it creates a new instance with the settings that you've got. So you've got your persistence.xml, and this is going to set up your JPA world data source for you. So you can see here, and this is a standard JBoss persistence.xml. I'm going to say JBoss data source JPA world data source. And that's going to connect to my Postgres database that I'm going to set up and in my app services. But how do I actually go in and create that? Now, I do that by setting up a parameter that says, use this script here on startup. So every one of those instances is going to actually call the JBoss CLI.sh. It's going to go in and create a data source. So it's going to start up, create a data source for me. It's going to connect to my Postgres database for my MySQL connection URL in my app services. It's going to have all of the drivers, all of those settings, and then it's going to actually run that every time that I've got an instance there. So let's go into our portal here. While we're waiting, no, we want to go cancel that. While we're waiting for our instances to scale here, I want to show you exactly how that all comes together. So we want to go into our Jakarta EE application. The first thing I want to show you is where is that database URL. So under configuration, let's make that a little bit bigger. The configuration, we're looking for that Postgres database that we connect to. I think it's a MySQL. No, I think it's a MySQL. Let's just see. It's a MySQL database, not Postgres. It's a MySQL database, flexible MySQL database, and I've got my connection URL there. So hidden value, and then you see there, that's my URL. Now that is going to be injected to every Wildflower server that I have there as part of that script that I actually get at that. Now, where is that actual script located? Now, when you FTP your file and you deploy it, you actually put that in that this webint folder. So watch this here. This folder here has my script running there. So you can see that I FTP'd it into my deployment center. Now I've got my create my SQL data source.sh here, and this is exactly what it calls. And then that is, you can see that I've done that recently. So let's go back in and see, did we scale? So before I just want to show you, did we scale? I want to show you how cheap that MySQL database is to run. So if I go and I close all of that and I go into MySQL database here, I go to flexible server here. Let's see how much, and I've run this for like months now. I want to see the cost for this. Now this is scaling as our application is running. So you can go, you can see there, I've got burstable B1 VS, 1 core, 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage. Let's see the view, the costs. And I've been running this endlessly and doing demos for the last month here. So, and normally your MySQL database costs you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month to actually run. And this is a really great new service that we've launched here. So look at that, $10. And let's go accumulated costs for the last year. This should be thousands of dollars. Forecast unavailable. It's coming back here. So yeah, so it's $10. Let's go rather this quarter. I think I'm a little bit too optimistic to say a year, because I think I probably broke Azure in the side there for all of the stuff I want to show you. There, $10 for the entire time that I've run that. That is cheap. That is great value for money. So let's go back into our service here, and if the demo gods are correct, let's see if we have actually, let's go home, and let's see if we scaled. Live on the air, let's see if we scaled. And scaled down. Also, remember, I want to scale up, and then I want to scale down when I don't have any more load, and we don't have any load here. So let's see in the last hour. Let's go, let's 6 hours. There we go. So it hasn't scaled just yet. Let's go refresh. And we're running there. Let's go into our log. Sometimes it takes a few seconds. Let's go in activity log. And we want to go last hour here. But it doesn't look like we scaled here. So maybe it will scale. Maybe I was a little bit too optimistic here around that. But you can see here that just really earlier today, I did do a scale out on the run history here oh, wait, what is that? Do you see that? Let's go 6 hours. Okay, so we did scale earlier at 2 o'clock today, 2 o'clock South African Standard Time here. So it probably will scale up here. Oh, wow. It just said scale up completed, initiated, failed. That's good, but it did try to scale up and scale down, and we can go into that and see exactly why it failed. It's probably because I've changed, and I did move the database up and down into different zones. So that's probably, but you can see there that I did scale up there, and over a 7-day period, it really scaled up nicely. And this is a really great instance of showing you how you can actually set up auto scaling for that. So that's the JBoss instance. I showed you how to get started with that and also scale up and scale down. Next, I want to show you Azure Functions. So before I do that, I want to show you, because we've got a lot of nice time, exactly the power of Azure Functions. So I want you to go to a URL. First, I'm going to set it up. And we're going to do a live tug of war. And I'm going to show you how easy Azure Functions is. So first of all, I'm going to call this team, or actually, let's do this. Let's do Sherry for team 1. And then I'm going to do team 2 for team 2. So you can go and, no, let's do Rory. Rory. So, and this is all Azure functions. And all of this is actually pennies per month to actually run. So let's go, let's play. And it's running JavaScript in the background. Now I want you to go into aka.ms and you're going to do a live demo with me. So if you want to go into here, you can go to aka.ms/tug of war. So let's make that a little bit bigger for everyone here. Let's go there. So tug of war, and what you'll get, tug-of war. Let's make that a little bit bigger. I can't make that actually bigger there, but it's aka.ms/tug-of war. So if I go into there, I've got now Team Sherry and Team Rory. So I'm going to click Team Rory a couple of times here, and we're going to see if you can go into aka.ms/tug-of-war. We're going to see who wins, Team Sherry or Team Rory. Let me make that a little bit bigger here. So you can go, let's bring that into here, into my little script here. So you can actually go into, let's make that bigger. So that's the URL you want there, tug of war. You can choose Team Sherry or Team Rory. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to use Azure functions. So you can go into there. I'm going to click on Team Rory a little bit here. And now let's see who got, wow, okay. Team Sherry's winning. Team Sherry is definitely winning here. And this is using JavaScript in the background. And this is pretty simple. You can go into the GitHub repo here. I'm going to click on that there. Let's see. Okay, I think Sherry's won. Sherry's definitely won there. Okay, well done, Sherry. And the tug of war here, it uses, you can see here, it uses storage. So it uses APIs and then queues and tables to actually manage the state. And all of this is stateless. So this is a really great example of how you can actually use this to that. I'm going to show you live on how to create that. So let's go in and open up our Visual Studio Code. And I'm going to show you how to get started with that. So let's close all of that folder here. And let's go into here. Let's go close that. File, close folder. We still have a few more minutes, so I have a lot of time to show you some. And now I'm going to show you Azure functions. So I'm going to create an Azure function. I'm going to deploy that Azure function, and then I'm going to show you how to connect a database to that. Because I think that a lot of people battle with connecting databases, and I've showed you today how to connect App Service, how to connect Azure Spring Cloud, and also JBoss. So we're going to go create a new project here, and I'm going to specify that project here under, let's say, new folder, and dev show function. We're going to select that there. I'm going to choose Java, which is the language. You can choose all of the other languages there if you want. Java 8. I'm going to call that com.function, dev show function, use the snapshot function, package name, app name, that's fine. Open in current window here. Now you can run this actually locally, and this is going to do everything for you that you need to actually create a function, including create the function and also use Azure App Service. Now I have already created the function, so I don't want to waste too much time to do that, but I can actually go in there, and now I can go in, let's just build that quickly under Maven, and I want to go under Lifecycle. I want to package that up there. And now I can actually go in and deploy that to my Azure function. And it's as simple as once that's finished there, you can see there, it's running my tests, and it comes with some nice unit tests there. It's running my tests, and this is a nice little HTTP function there. And what this function does, it takes in a name. You can see here, it takes in a name, and it just returns your name. And it binds to the HTTP input. Now, functions are great because you get inputs and outputs. Now, the output is we're going to actually do as a Cosmos DB database when I show you the other demo. So now I can go right-click and go deploy to function app. Now, I've already created a function app that I've done before, and just to save time. And I want to do that function there, demo RPZA. And that's going to go in, and I've got my app services there. Do you want to deploy? Yes, that's great. We want to say, we want to see there and see it deploy, and then we can go, hello, Sherry. which is great. It's going to go deploy it. And this isn't, I think this is using, let's go see if it's using one deploy, because it's got the deployment logs. I think this is using one deploy also, and it's really quick. So deployment to that, you can see there, it's stopping the app. And this is using the P1 premium functions that warms up your functions for you. Now, this should be really blazing fast. I think it's using the P1 v3, or it's using consumption. I can't remember though. But the other one that I've got that is connecting to the Cosmos DB database, I've separated them into the US and also into Europe. And then I've put it on a pre-warmed database. Okay, so let's go. We can stream the logs here. And we want to go into our Azure functions here. You can see there, you can actually go and start it up in the local project. You can run that locally, but I want to go into into my functions. Now, the HTTP example, you can actually go execute the function, and it will give you the ability to use the function that you can see, name and Azure. I can click OK. And it doesn't actually tell you that it's run. This is a bit confusing. It doesn't tell you whether it ran successfully. Just say whether it ran. But I can go into the function here, and I can go copy function URL, go into my browser URL here, and I can go paste that function in there, give it a name. Name equals to Sherry. And now from live coding, we should Sherry. We should say, hello, Sherry. Look at that, live coded Azure function. Now that's great and all, but now we want to do and connect it to a database. So now I'm going to show you a nice little demo that I set up here. And where is that demo? Functions demo, micro profile. So many demos that we've got here. There we go. And let's just see here. And wow, okay, let me just find that demo quickly for you here. Let's go into our Word doc, our test Word doc here. And there we go. Let's go find it. There we go. Okay. So the actual project that you can go is on here. So let's go here. And we want to show you here. So this is the Azure samples, and it has 1,000 or more Azure samples. And the example I want to show you is here under functions. You can go to Azure-samples, Java-on-Azure-examples. And I want to show you the Cosmos DB output. And this is going to show you how to create a Cosmos DB instance here. So the first thing I want to show you is I want to go into my project. I found my project now. And I want to show you what it does. Now, this is pretty nifty because it does a binding. So just like I showed you it bind to HTTP, we're going to bind it to the Cosmos DB database. Now, I want to do that. And there we go. And code dot. I'm starting my application. And now I'm not going to deploy it because we're nearly out of time. I want to do questions. But the Cosmos DB output here, you can see here, I'm binding it to the Cosmos DB output. And I've got a Cosmos DB connection string that I set up as an app service property. So my Cosmos DB database there is going to store my Azure function information. And then I'm going to be able to bind it. So it takes in HTTP trigger, and then it binds it as an output. So the trigger is the input, and the binding is the output. So then I go in, and let's go into the database. And you take that Cosmos DB key that you have. Let's go in and minimize that. There we go. And so that's the key. This is the database. Now, the keys that you get, you can see there, I've got the URI and the primary key. And what you do is you add that as an app service setting onto your Azure function. So if I go into my Azure function, I deploy that as an app service setting in my Azure function. So if I go into Cosmos DB functions, under functions here, and my Cosmos DB output here, you'll see there that under integration, I've got a little setting here under integration for my app service, and this is compile time. So I actually deploy it there. Let's make that a little bit smaller. You can see there I've got my Cosmos DB output, and there's my setting there, my Cosmos DB connection string. Now I should be able to take and hit my trigger, and I can test it, code and test, and this will test whether it works, but I can actually test it also via HTTP because I bound it there as an HTTP header. So now I can go test and run. I'm not going to add anything to the body. And now it's going to return back. It's going to store something in my Cosmos DB, and I can go into my Cosmos DB to show you that it is there. So HTTP, oh, wow. Okay, let's go run. Wow. Okay, so let's go see if we can actually hit that. I did move it around to try and get the cost down. So let's go, if we go into our Cosmos DB settings here, into our Azure function, and let's go into the URL here. I think that I might actually have deleted that but when I moved it around, and I didn't actually test it. Remember I said one of the demos isn't going to work? Let's go back into there, and let's see if we've got our demo running here. Okay, let's go there. And I don't actually think this is running right now, which is kind of, let's Cosmos DB output. Let's see if that's running. There we go. Wow, okay. Whew. A live demo. We stored an item in Cosmos DB. Now we can go into our Cosmos DB. We've got 4 minutes left here. So let's go into our Cosmos DB. I want to show you that it actually did store that information there. And while you're doing that, you can actually get your questions ready for me. There should be a lot of questions because we did a lot of demo here. And I can go browse, and let's go. You can see there the items database there, the throughput that we've got there. The hourly cost is very, very cheap here. And I can scale that up, and also you can go into the Document Explorer here. Let's open up the Document Explorer. I can go in there, and you'll see that the actual instance there. So that's everything I wanted to show you today. I've showed you quite a lot. Nearly all of my demos, except the Jakarta EE demo worked, so which is great. 5 out of 6 is great. And if I go into my items here, I can go click, see the items here. Yeah, so load more, and then I've got my items there. There's my ID there, and that's great. So that's working great. So I put in one item, and now I've got one item there. Look at this. This was stored by Azure Functions. How great is that? Okay, over to you, Sherry and Rasmus, and thank you so much. We did so much today, and you can access all of this on aka.ms/java-learn path. Thank you so much, Sherry, for beating me on tug of war.
You're on mute.
Rasmus, which camp were you on? Were you on the Rory camp or the Sherry camp?
I can't tell.
There were like 100 on Sherry and like 60 on me.
So I guess
you'll never find out, Rory. It's a secret. It's a hidden secret forever. I take it with me.
It was an anonymous one.
So we have one question actually from Antonio, directly from Brazil. I saw in the beginning. So is it possible to deploy a function using Azure Cloud Shell inside the Azure Portal browser?
Yes. No, remember, Azure Cloud Shell, you can use a full deployment there. Not only that, but if I open up my Cloud Shell, check this out. I'm going to share if you can share my screen again. I run nearly everything on Azure Cloud Shell here, and it has the full CLI and Java here, and it runs, if I go Java -- version, it runs the Microsoft generally available OpenJDK. But if I go into code, check this out, code, and then scripts like that, this is Visual Studio Code. You can actually run Visual Studio Code here, and you can edit all of your files here, and you can run, it's got, let's open that again. You can run Maven, you can run all of that there. So whatever you can do locally, you can run on Azure Cloud Shell. I do a lot of my work here because it's so quick. So if I go MVN here, it's got Maven, it's got Gradle, it's got everything you need that you want.
That's amazing. We have one more question. We have time for it. So, can we use the JBoss Wildfly Web Management Console?
You can actually access the admin console, but understand every time that you make changes there, if you don't script it there with that shell script I showed you, it's going to be lost. So you need to do that shell scripting because remember when the load balancing that when it load balances up, it's going to create a new instance, and it's going to create it with that shell script that I created, though. So you can, but we don't recommend it because you're going to lose it when your instance comes up and down.
Thanks. That was the last question for today. And time is running out. Sherry, you're still on mute.
I know. But yes, thank you very much for this demo-heavy session, Rory. And for all of you, you can scan this QR code to get your Azure Heroes Learner Badge for today. And then, if you want to know more about the project and also nominate yourself or a community friend for the other sessions, for the other badges, go to this URL and nominate yourself or friend. And we need feedback. Is that right, Potbus?
Yeah. We need feedback both for this specific session, also for the future of Dev Show. We want to know what you want to see, what you want to hear. So please let us know that. And I know if you fill out the feedback form, Sherry is going to pick a winner for swag.
Yes, there are many ways to get the swag today. And also there is a section for Rory as well. If you want to give a feedback to Rory, we will definitely make sure that he gets it as well. And the next session, which is going to be our last session before we go on a summer vacation, is going to be about FinOps for developers. Rasmus, do you want to say a few words about this?
I mean, I've been working a lot with Thomas from Maersk, and he is super experienced in the FinOps area, has been helping to drive cost optimizations and what needs to be done in the cost optimization space for cloud the past more than a year. So please stay tuned for this. It is a super important areas for everybody using cloud, both privately and companies. So tune in for this one.
Yes, and there are a lot of those sessions, but not totally tuned in for the developers. So that is good that he's going to break it down for us. And then if you're interested in IoT cybersecurity, this is actually going to be a really cool session. Not by us, but from our friends in Blue Fragments. And there are going to be two Microsoft speakers there. So I really recommend you all to join this session as well. And then with that, see you next week.
Thanks everybody for
everyone.
joining. Thanks, Rory. See you.